All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling Fight for Your Future. This devotional text, it's all about the Christian evangelical faith. I gotta say, I was really intrigued by how it mixes biblical teachings with advice for, modern life. What about you? What really grabbed your attention?
It's funny. A lot of these devotional texts, they can feel kind of passive. But this one, it's different. It's like a call to action. It really pushes you to actually use these principles to shape your future. Almost like a spiritual self-help guide.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like that key point 27, what I see, God will give me. That's not just like wishful thinking, is it? It seems like a whole different way to think about faith.
Right. Exactly. It's what they call proactive faith in the text. It's all about visualizing your future and believing that God will be there with you, helping you achieve it. It's almost like setting a goal, but with, divine backing. But it's interesting, though, even with faith, Abraham, he still faced those struggles and doubts on his journey to the promised land.
Oh, that's such a good point. It makes it so much more relatable, because even when you have this divine goal, the road there, well, it's not always a smooth ride.
Oh, absolutely. And the text, it doesn't shy away from that. It recognizes that there are challenges, but it really emphasizes the power of vision and trusting in God's plan. And speaking of vision, the devotional, it gets into the story of Solomon. That part really fascinated me.
Yeah, yeah. It talks about how he inherits the kingdom, but he feels this urge, to create something truly special, a peaceful and prosperous nation.
And that desire, it leads him to have this really vivid dream. And in this dream, God offers him anything he wants. But instead of asking for, riches or power, Solomon, he chooses wisdom.
Yeah.
He understood that with wisdom, he could build something that would last, a legacy that would benefit generations to come.
And the crazy part is, right, God was so blown away by Solomon's request that he gave him not only the wisdom, but also all those riches and glory he hadn't even asked for. It's like a reminder, isn't it? Aligning your goals with a higher purpose, like Solomon did by serving his people and trying to create a just and prosperous society. It can unlock those unexpected blessings. And you see, with Solomon's wisdom, he builds that magnificent temple, achieves peace, brings prosperity to the kingdom. It's such an inspiring example of how vision and wise leadership, they can really shape a future.
So it's not just about personal gain, right? It's about using your gifts, your talents to make a wider impact. And that kind of leads us to how this devotional gets really practical, laying out specific prayers and actions to help you, fight for your future. What stood out to you in that section?
Well, it definitely pushes a proactive approach. It emphasizes staying focused on your goals, resisting those negative influences, and really pushing through to the finish line. It's about taking ownership and acting, not just waiting around for things to happen. Okay, let's break that down a bit. There's one prayer that really hit me. It says, Sévrez-vous de toute relation et de tous ceux qui influenceront négativement votre chemin à cause de là où Dieu vous emmène. Basically, it's saying separate yourself from any relationship that's going to negatively influence your path because of where God is taking you. That's pretty strong advice, don't you think?
It is strong. And it really makes you think, what exactly is a negative influence?
Mm-hmm.
Are there times when, those challenging relationships, maybe they actually push us to grow?
Mm-hmm.
And is cutting ties completely always the answer? Or could there be, other ways to navigate those tricky situations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Makes you think, for sure.
Yeah, it's a complicated idea, no doubt. This devotional, it really encourages you to take a good look at your relationships, see if they, match up with the vision you have for your future. But like you said, maybe it's not always about cutting people out completely. Maybe sometimes it's about setting boundaries or figuring out healthier ways to handle those relationships.
Right, right. And maybe sometimes those tough relationships, they can actually help us refine our vision, they give us feedback, help us figure out what we really want and what's really important.
Well, for sure. It's about being smart and thoughtful about how we approach those relationships, not just blindly following some, one-size-fits-all rule. And inspired by stories like Solomon's, the devotional then gives you all these practical tools, like specific prayers, to help you navigate all those challenges. One that really jumped out at me was, Demandez à Dieu le genre de percée qui vous bénisse, et bénisse vos enfants après vous pour des générations.
Wow, you're really good with those French phrases. So what does that one mean exactly?
It means ask God for the kind of breakthrough that will bless you and your children after you for generations. Pretty powerful, right? It's about thinking bigger than just what we want right now. It's aiming for a future where our actions have a positive impact, an impact that lasts way beyond our own lifetime.
I love that. It ties back into that idea of a higher purpose we talked about earlier. It's not just about, personal success. It's about creating a legacy of positive change. It kind of reminds me of this one time.
Oh, tell me about it. This reminds me.
You go first.
Okay, so uh, a few years back, I was working on this project. I thought it was my big break. I was so focused on achieving this goal that I poured everything into it. I was neglecting my relationships, even my own health. It was all about that breakthrough. But guess what? The project, it fell apart. It was a huge disappointment, honestly. But looking back, I realized that laser focus on one goal, without thinking about the bigger picture, the impact on my life and the people around me, it just wasn't right. It wasn't aligned with my values. This is a tough lesson. But it taught me that seeking a breakthrough that only benefits me, it's not enough. It has to extend outwards. It has to have a positive impact on others too.
Wow, that's really powerful. And it just shows that even when things don't work out the way we planned, those experiences, they can help us, redefine what success really means to us, what truly matters. It makes me think about this one time when I was...
Oh, I'd love to hear this. What happened?
Well, I had this big career goal, right? I was working towards it for years. I mean, I was putting in the hours, networking, doing everything I could to get there. And eventually, I did achieve it. But you know what? It wasn't what I expected at all. I was so focused on that one goal that I didn't even stop to think if it really matched my values or if it would actually make me happy. And it took actually achieving that goal to realize it wasn't the right fit for me. So I made a change, even though it meant walking away from something I had worked so hard for. It was a tough decision, but it taught me that sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come from having the courage to reevaluate our goals, make adjustments, even if it means going against the grain.
That's so true. Sometimes the greatest successes come from having the wisdom to know when to change course completely. And it sounds like both of our experiences, they really connect with this devotional's message, fighting for a future that aligns with our values and has a positive ripple effect on the world around us. It's not just about achieving any goal. It's about striving for something that has meaning and purpose beyond just ourselves.
Exactly. It makes you think about the future in a much bigger sense, doesn't it? It's not just about what we achieve for ourselves. It's about the legacy we leave behind. And that brings us back to the authors of this devotional.
Pastor Gislan and his wife, Belmonde, they lead this French-speaking Christian community in Austin, Minnesota. And they really seem passionate about empowering their community, helping them thrive in all aspects of life.
Yeah, and this devotional, it's actually part of their 2025 Uppercut Arise program. It's a program focused on equipping individuals to face challenges and achieve their goals. It's really interesting how they've taken these principles, the vision, the proactive faith, the seeking guidance, and put it all into a program that aims to make a real difference in people's lives.
It really highlights how important community and mentorship can be, for personal growth. Having a supportive network and wise guidance can make a huge difference in helping us stay focused on our goals and navigate all those bumps in the road. And speaking of guidance, it's pretty amazing how this one devotional text has sparked so many insightful conversations.
I know, right? We've talked about having a vision for your future, seeking guidance, and taking action. But before we wrap up this deep dive into Fight for Your Future, there's one final question I want you to consider. So we've explored this proactive faith idea, right? And aligning your goals with a higher purpose. But here's the thing. The question I really want you to think about is, how can you use these principles in your own life, even if you don't, share the same religious beliefs as the authors?
That's a really great question. It makes us think outside the box, beyond just this devotional text.
Yeah.
It makes us think about the bigger picture, that universal human desire to create a meaningful future no matter what you believe.
Exactly. We all have goals, right? Dreams we want to chase. Maybe it's changing careers or improving our relationships or even just finding a sense of peace. And those principles, the vision, seeking guidance, taking action, those can apply to any of those things.
Absolutely. It's about, taking control of your journey, no matter what your beliefs are. This devotional, it's like a reminder to visualize the future you want, to seek wisdom and support from people you trust, and then to actually do something, take those steps to make that vision happen.
It's almost like we're all on a quest to build our own kingdoms, Maybe not literally like Solomon, but in terms of creating a life that reflects what we believe in and contributes something good to the world.
And just like Solomon, he went to God for wisdom. We can seek guidance too, from mentors, trusted friends, even just by taking some time to reflect, look inward. The key is being open to learning and growing. surrounding yourself with people and resources that support you on your journey.
This devotional, it talks a lot about prayer as a way to seek guidance, but I think the idea behind it, it can apply even if you're not religious, taking time to reflect, meditate, even just pausing to connect with that inner wisdom. Those things can bring clarity and direction, help you find your way.
It's all about finding what works for you, right? What matters is that you're actively involved in shaping your future. You're not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. Like the devotional says, you have the power to fight for the future you want, to take control and create something truly meaningful.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here are some questions to think about. What future are you fighting for? What's your vision for yourself and the world around you? What steps can you take today, even small ones, to start moving in that direction?
Remember, every journey, it all starts with that first step. Even if you don't know exactly what's ahead, having a clear vision, seeking guidance, and taking action, those things can empower you to create a future that's both fulfilling and makes a real difference.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Fight for Your Future. We hope you've gained some insights, maybe some inspiration to go out and create a brighter tomorrow.